Hello everybody, my name is Bats Fernie and today I will be reviewing the movie Child's Play. This movie has 7 sequels going from horror to parody then back to horror. Each movie is different from the previous installment. The movie is written by Don Mancini, who has wrote all the Child's Play movies over the years. Chucky has become a horror icon, even being scarier than Freddy Krueger. Now let's get into the plot. Before I forget, if you haven't seen the movie, spoilers! Click off now and go watch the movie, then come back. Now, without further ado, let's get into the plot. The movie begins with Charles Lee Ray being chased by Detective Mike Norris while playing a serious game of peekaboo. While Charles is trying to get to his getaway vehicle, Mike manages to shoot him in the leg. His getaway driver, Eddie Caputo, decides fuck this and drives away, leaving Charles behind. Wow. What a dick move. Charles and Mike continue to play their game of peekaboo with bullets until Charles decides to enter the toy shop using his special skeleton key, which of course is a bullet. Once inside, Mike follows him in to continue their shootout. Mike gets a fatal shot at Charles, leading Charles to blow up the most obvious thing in the movie, whilst also saying, kinda calmly, but kinda not so calm.
Oh God, I'm dying.
I also like it's not a big deal, which it clearly is, because after this, he swears revenge on Eddie and Mike before he falls over into a pile of good guy dolls.
No matter what.
Charles decides then to transfer his soul into one of the good guy dolls, whilst uttering the most iconic line of the series.
Mortis me le devacordem voce. Adele porte basse gambella.
Charles' transfer is complete, causing him to die in the process. This is our first death of the movie at only 4 minutes and 56 seconds. His cause of death is transferring his soul into a doll. A lightning bolt then strikes down into the toy store, sending Mike through the air, then crashing into a toy stand. An explosion then happens, blowing up the store, but somehow Mike survives this explosion without even a scratch. After this, it's confirmed that Charles is dead. We then cut to the following day, where we see that it's Andy Barclay's 6th birthday. We also see that Andy's watching a Good Guy program to then quickly say, I've saw this one. This kid is literally me when I'm flipping through TV channels trying to find something to watch. Andy's making his mom breakfast. Hold on, is that 3 spoonfuls of sugar? Someone's been taking Mary Poppins' advice too seriously. I mean, come on, that amount of sugar can lead to one thing.
Diabetes.
Andy then wakes his mother up with jumping on the bed like the usual 6-year-old brat. His mother then says the time, but the alarm clock isn't on. How did she know the time? Is she a fucking wizard? But Andy doesn't care if his mum's a wizard. He wants to open his presents. We then see Andy then opening a big present, thinking it'll be a good guy doll, but to then discover that it's clothes instead of a good guy. I have to say that's a big box for a single pair of jeans. I would be disappointed too. We then cut to see Andy's mum working in a jewelry store. Or jewelry store, right? When her friend Maggie runs up to tell her that a good guy doll is being sold in the alleyway behind the store, Karen grabs her coat and rushes out to get this doll with a homeless guy who just happens to have the same doll with Charles' soul on it. They manage to work out a deal with the guy to get the doll at only 30 quid worth. I'd say that's a good deal. Saving yourself 70 quid and a bonus free serial killer, the purchase of a lifetime. The homeless guy then shouts at Maggie, steal this. Classy. We then see Karen give Andy his new improved serial killer, a good guy doll. We then see Andy show his mum how the doll works, which then reveals its name to be Chucky. Later that night, we see Karen's friend Maggie is babysitting Andy, whilst also stealing a piece of cake. Andy is showing Chucky how to build, but Chucky doesn't care about that. He cares more about the news, which mentions our favourite Lakeshore Strangler, where he finds out that Eddie Caputo has escaped custody. Andy notices Chucky isn't paying attention and says to him about it, and Chucky responds by saying, "Wanna play?" Maggie says to Andy that it's time to get ready to go to bed. But Chucky doesn't want to go to bed, he wants to watch the 9 o'clock news. Whilst Andy is brushing his teeth, Chucky goes back to the living room to watch the 9 o'clock news. Maggie thinks this is Andy playing tricks on her and tucks both of them into bed. We then see Chucky run through the hallway, startling Maggie. Maggie thinks it's Andy, but we know it's not. We then see Maggie enter the kitchen to find a spilt over flower tub all over the floor. Chucky's a terrible house guest. You'd think since he's in a good guy doll, he'd be a good guy. We then see Chucky pick up a toy hammer, which makes the sound effect of a knife being unsheathed. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't even make any sense. But the show must go on. Maggie is cleaning up the kitchen when Chucky decides to smack her in the face with the hammer, causing her to run backwards and out the window, to only land in the car down below. Oh, phew. Thought she died. Oh wait, she did. This now being the second kill of the movie, the cause of death was being hit by a parked car. Karen arrives home only to discover that 3 police officers are doing fuck all, except one of them is reading a newspaper on Donald Trump's interview with Oprah Winfrey. That didn't go well, instead of him doing his actual job, of course. She then goes to Andy's room only to find that Mike is talking to him. Mike then tells Karen that her friend Maggie is dead. He then shows her tiny footprints in the flour. At this point, Mike has suspicions that Andy may have had something to do with Maggie's death. He even looks at Andy's feet to see that they match the footprints in the flour. Karen isn't too happy and tells Mike Andy didn't do it and that she wants them to leave. Mike gets everyone to leave, but before he leaves, Andy knows who done it and runs in to tell Mike that it was Chucky that killed Maggie. His mom and Mike don't believe him and send him back to his room. But Andy's like, but Mom, this reminds me of Cartman. Once Mike leaves, Karen goes to check on Andy, to then find him on the floor talking to Chucky. Quite creepy, to be honest. Andy tells his mom that Chucky's real name is Charles Lee Ray, and that Aunt Maggie was a real bitch who got what she deserved. Way to be nice to your mum there, Andy. Karen tucks Andy and Chucky into bed, but decides to listen to them behind the door. Chucky notices this and spits out a generic doll line. Smooth moves, Chucky. The next morning, Andy goes to school for maybe about a minute, to then just skip school because Chucky convinces Andy to take him onto a train. I don't know how Andy didn't get asked for a ticket, but we then see them in a derelict part of Chicago. Andy then puts Chucky on an old rocking chair while he goes for a piss. While Andy's away, Chucky takes the time to go to Eddie's hideout. We see Chucky enter the building to only then blow out the pilot light, in the oven and turn the gas on. During this, Eddie wakes up to try and find who entered his home, but ends up blowing himself up in the process. Thus being our third kill of the movie. Cause of death was Michael Bay. On the bright side, Eddie gets a free burial. After this, Karen gets a message telling her to come down to the police station, where she then finds out Andy has been brought in because he was at the scene of Eddie Caputo's death. We then see Mike's partner questioning Andy about his Aunt Maggie's death, to simply get in return that Chucky did it. Andy then gets frustrated with Chucky because he doesn't reveal himself. The adults don't believe him, so he gets put in a psychiatric hospital for a couple of days. Poor Andy, being put into the care of Gary Busey. Later that night, Karen goes home with Chucky, but she's soon surprised that Chucky's batteries are actually not inside him. She then picks up to check if those batteries are spares, but as she opens the battery slot to undiscover that there are no batteries, Chucky's head spins around in a nice exorcist fashion. She then threatens to Chucky to speak or she'll throw him into the fire. Chucky reveals himself and bites her in her arm and escapes the apartment and down the elevator. He managed to make a clean getaway. Karen then goes to Mike to prove to him that Andy wasn't lying. She even shows him the bite mark, but he still doesn't believe her. She then goes to find the homeless guy who sold her the doll. She eventually finds him, but he wants to have a bit of fun, not before Mike hits him in the back of the head and makes him answer the question that she asked him. When Mike hears the response, he's shocked and in disbelief. When Karen questions him about it, he tells her about Charles Lee Ray, but she fails to recall that is the same name Andy told her earlier on. He then takes Karen home. After that, he drives to the police station to get the file on Charles Lee Ray. What he doesn't know is that Chucky is in the back seat waiting on him. Chucky tries to strangle Mike to death but fails when Mike burns his face with a cigarette lighter. Chucky isn't done yet. He tries to stab Mike through his seat, almost stabbing him in the crown jewels. Chucky causes Mike to crash in a kinda cool way. Chucky runs the car shouting that Mike can't hurt him, but then gets shot and runs away. Chucky then goes to John Bishop, the guy that taught him the voodoo chant. John tells Chucky that he's turning human and that he's in a...
Because you're an abomination.
John then goes to the police, but Chucky has a voodoo doll of John and begins to break his leg and his arm until John tells him how he can get out of the doll by transferring his soul into the first person he told he was alive, which happens to be Andy. Chucky states that he's...
Well, John, it's been fun, but I gotta go. I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
And then proceeds to stab John's voodoo doll in the chest, making Karen arrive. Then John tells them the only way to kill Chucky is to aim for the heart. He then dies, cementing him as the fourth kill of the movie. Cause of death? Voodoo stab. We then see Andy at the mental hospital, where he sees Chucky outside coming to get him. Chucky then steals the keys to Andy's room. Once he's inside the room, he discovers that Andy has tricked him with pillows. Andy escapes the room. Andy then is hiding in an operating room, where Chucky jumps out at him. Dr. Adam Moore then enters the room to try and sedate Andy, but Chucky slashes him in the back of the leg with a scalpel, then attaching an electroconvulsive therapy headband to his head to kill him. He dies with the blood coming out of his eyes in a gruesome way. This makes Dr. Adam Moore our fifth kill of the movie. His cause of death? Electric boogaloo. Andy is now at home, setting up a barricade to stop Chucky from getting in. Not the best barricade, but it'll do. Chucky comes up the elevator with two elderly people.
Ugly doll.
Fuck you.
As I watched this, I couldn't help but laugh. Andy decides the best place to hide is the same place as Laurie Strode did in Halloween. Andy arms himself with a bat as Chucky decides to come down the chimney like Saint Nick. Chucky scares Andy into missing him with the bat. Chucky then chases Andy around the house until... Cheers Chucky for taking a good joke, ya piece of shit. Chucky begins doing his voodoo spell before being interrupted by Mike and Karen. Chucky doesn't like being interrupted, so he attacks Karen until he's stalked by Mike, who then throws him only to have Chucky come back and slash him in the leg. Chucky then runs away as Mike decides to hunt him down. Chucky then knocks him out. Karen then shoots him in the leg, sending him flying. The gun jams, so Karen runs as Chucky chases her. She falls in the living room and Chucky decides to pounce on her. She manages to overpower him and throw him into the fireplace and trap him. Andy grabs a match and let's watch, shall we?
Andy, no, please. We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.
Chucky now burnt to a crisp. You'd assume that it's over, right? Andy is sent to the kitchen to get a med kit, but to discover Chucky's not there, where he should be. Chucky then decks Andy as he runs down the hall. Andy runs into the room just as his mother shuts the door. Chucky gives Karen a proposal, but she refuses. Chucky gets into the room and starts chasing them around until they're in the hallway, where he shouts one last time to give him the boy. Karen then shoots him repeatedly until his head, arm and leg are shot off completely. She keeps shooting him until he's stopped, moving altogether. Mike's partner walks in as Chucky is down for a second time. Mike warns him not to touch the doll at all, but his partner doesn't listen and brings Chucky's head into the room. Big mistake, cause Chucky isn't down for good, yet his body bursts out the vent and attacks Mike's partner until Karen throws Chucky off him. Chucky's body begins to rise again, but Mike finally puts Chucky down by shooting him in the heart, finally killing him. This makes Chucky our sixth and final kill of the movie. Cause of death? Bullet through the heart. The movie ends in a freeze frame of Andy looking back into the room. Now, let's get into the review. This movie is great from start to finish. Its story is original. Tom Mancini did an excellent job with the writing, successfully creating characters that can bring you into the story and make you feel like you're there. The practical effects are fantastic with a mix of animatronic and real actors playing Chucky, especially with that fire stunt. I loved how Chucky progressively became more human as the movie went on. Now my rating for this movie is 7 out of 10. There isn't anything that I can find bad about this movie. It has an original concept. It introduces the idea that dolls can be scarier and not always be friendly. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys for Child's Play 2. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed my first review. Leave a comment on what you think I should do other than the Child's Play 2 review, because I'll be doing other horror movies and other movies alongside this. So anyway guys, I'll see you guys in the future. See you very soon. Bye.